Jersey Bridgeman was born on November 14, 2006, in the quaint town of Bentonville, Arkansas. When she was 3 years old, her parents welcomed another daughter. However, shortly thereafter, they decided to divorce. Despite the separation, Jersey continued to spend significant time with her father, who eventually remarried and had 2 additional daughters with his new spouse. Residing just a short drive away in a neighboring town, Jersey frequently stayed with them for several days before returning to her mother. In 2012, when Jersey was 5, she and her mother relocated to a new home within the same town. Jersey and her sister quickly befriended the local children, and her mother's best friend lived just a few yards away. The 2 families were so intertwined that they felt like one large extended family, often spending time together. On November 19, 2012, less than a week after Jersey's birthday, her mother went to work her regular evening shift at the local supermarket. On nights when her parents were unavailable to care for the girls, Jersey's mother would sometimes leave them with her best friend, who was more than willing to look after them, especially since her own children were friends with Jersey and her sister. That evening, Jersey's mother completed her shift around 11:30 p.m. Picked up the girls and took them home to bed. Jersey fell asleep immediately, while her younger sister preferred to sleep with their mother, prompting her to take the girl to her own room. The following morning, Jersey's mother awoke around 6:30 a.m. and went to prepare her daughter for school, only to discover that Jersey was missing from her bedroom. In a state of panic, she searched the entire house and realized that Jersey was nowhere to be found. She immediately called her own mother, expressing her concern, and her mother suggested that perhaps Jersey was playing hide-and-seek somewhere. Jersey's mother meticulously examined every closet and potential hiding spot within the house, yet her search yielded no results. Stepping outside, she noticed Jersey's friend seated on the front porch, hoping that Jersey had risen early and gone to her home to play. The mother inquired if the friend had seen Jersey, given that she often spent time there, but the friend had not seen her and promptly joined the search efforts. They scoured the neighborhood, and the friend even checked inside her own house, but Jersey remained missing. At this juncture, Jersey's mother was overwhelmed with anxiety and decided to contact the police without delay. Officers arrived within minutes and initiated their own investigation, thoroughly inspecting the house to confirm Jersey's absence. They then sought permission from the friend to search her residence as well. Meanwhile, other officers began canvassing the nearby streets, considering the possibility that Jersey may have wandered off. During their search, they observed a small, vacant house adjacent to Jersey's mother's property. The officers opted to investigate, particularly since one of the doors was ajar. After establishing that the house was unoccupied, they promptly requested a search warrant. Investigators contemplated the chance that Jersey might have entered the premises, and a judge swiftly granted them access. The officers meticulously searched each room, but it was not until one of them checked a closet in the bedroom that a chilling discovery was made. Inside was Jersey's lifeless body, and it was immediately apparent that she had passed away. Clothing items were absent, and preliminary observations suggested that strangulation was the likely cause of death. The body was subsequently transferred to medical examiners, prompting the police to initiate an investigation. During their inquiry, they spoke with Jersey's mother, who revealed that she had left one of the front doors unlocked that evening. She explained that this was a common practice, as her boyfriend, who also worked night shifts, would sometimes visit afterward and did not possess a key. By leaving the door unlocked, she ensured he would not disturb her rest. She noted that he had not visited that night, leading the police to consider him a potential suspect. Given that someone had taken Jersey to the abandoned house, it was probable that she was familiar with and trusted this individual. Jersey's mother's boyfriend had a good rapport with both Jersey and her younger sister, often engaging in play with them, which fostered their trust in him. As investigators delved into his activities that night, they uncovered additional information regarding Jersey's biological father, who had faced serious legal issues about a year prior. In December 2011, while Jersey was at her father's residence with his new wife, a family friend, upon hearing a child crying from behind a closed door, opened it out of concern. What she discovered was alarming. Jersey was found with a dog collar around her leg, tethered to a dresser in a disheveled room filled with dirty clothes and other items. Disturbed by the scene, she promptly freed Jersey and reported the incident to the authorities. Officers promptly apprehended Jersey's father and his wife during their questioning. They asserted that they had been restraining Jersey at night for her own protection, claiming that she occasionally sleepwalked and attempted to access medications or leave the house during the night. When questioned about the absence of child safety gates, Jersey's father simply stated that they could not afford them. However, as the investigation progressed, authorities discovered that he was using drugs and had sufficient funds to purchase them. Additionally, he was unemployed, despite the fact that he and his wife were responsible for 2 other children. Investigators spoke with Jersey, who disclosed the true reason behind her being tied to the dresser. One night, after sneaking into the kitchen and taking some pie and snacks without permission, her father and stepmother decided to punish her by restraining her. Jersey also revealed that she was sometimes forced to sleep on the bedroom floor without access to the bathroom. Ultimately, Jersey's father was sentenced to 18 years in prison, while his wife received a 12-year sentence. Since then, Jersey has been living with her mother, who was unaware of the situation, as Jersey had been too frightened to share her experiences. The case drew the attention of detectives, but they quickly determined that Jersey's father could not have been involved in a subsequent incident, as he had been incarcerated since his arrest and could not have been present at his daughter's home that night. Investigators then focused on known sex offenders residing within a few miles of the area. An alibi was established, directing the police's attention towards individuals within Jersey's immediate circle. Concurrently, medical examiners finalized a preliminary report that identified strangulation as the cause of death. They also discovered evidence of sexual assault and collected biological material from the assailant, which was subsequently sent to the laboratory for DNA analysis. Meanwhile, detectives shifted their focus to Jersey's mother's boyfriend, who asserted that he had been working at a store that night, with his shift concluding in the early hours of the morning. Police examined the store's CCTV footage, which corroborated his statement. However, a complication arose when detectives noted that he had a break during his shift, during which he could theoretically have committed the crime, as the store was merely a few minutes from Jersey's residence. Nevertheless, his co-workers informed the police that he had not left the store during his break, leading detectives to ultimately exclude him as a suspect. During discussions with the police, the boyfriend revealed a noteworthy detail around 30 a.m. A man named Zachary, who was Jersey's mother's neighbor and the spouse of her best friend, had entered the store. Zachary reported experiencing stomach pains, purchased some medication, and then departed. Given that the crimes appeared to have occurred around this time, the police found this account to be quite suspicious. Although they had previously interviewed Zachary and his wife and searched their residence without uncovering any evidence, the new information regarding his late-night visit prompted detectives to question him once more. He confirmed that he awoke in the middle of the night experiencing stomach pain. Unable to find any medication at home, he proceeded to a store located just a few hundred yards away. On his return, he eventually fell asleep again and woke up around 6:30 a.m. to prepare his older son for school. He voluntarily provided the police with his fingerprints, a DNA sample, and the clothing he wore to the store that night. Zachary maintained that he would never harm Jersey, and the detectives believed he was being truthful while they awaited the DNA test results. In the meantime, the police decided to investigate Zachary's background more thoroughly and discovered several noteworthy details. They found that he had an extensive criminal record, primarily consisting of non-violent and relatively minor offenses. Additionally, Zachary had a troubled history. The police learned that he had endured various forms of abuse from family members, including his stepfather, biological mother, and brother. 13 reports had been filed by concerned individuals who noticed the abuse and sought to intervene, but it remains unclear whether the police took any action. Detectives then interviewed Jersey's mother to gather more information about Zachary. She revealed that he and his wife frequently assisted in caring for the children and had a strong rapport with them. Jersey and her sister even referred to him as Uncle Zach, as he was considered part of the family. The girls visited his home nearly every day, and the mother noted that both Zachary and his wife had keys to her residence. Given that Jersey appeared to trust Zachary implicitly and would have followed him anywhere without hesitation, detectives began to contemplate his potential involvement in the case. Zachary's late-night visit to the store raised suspicions, leading investigators to believe it might have been a calculated attempt to establish an alibi, supported by witnesses and CCTV footage. When detectives summoned him for another interview, he unexpectedly declared that he would not speak without legal representation. The sudden change in demeanor surprised the investigators, particularly since he had previously been fully cooperative and had complied with all their requests. Lacking substantial evidence against him, the detectives could only await the DNA test results while continuing their search for new leads. However, an unforeseen development occurred. Despite his earlier refusal, Zachary contacted the police, expressing his willingness to undergo a polygraph test to exonerate himself. The detectives promptly arranged for the test, but the results were unfavorable for Zachary. The polygraph examiner indicated that many of his answers suggested deception, which intensified the detectives' suspicions. It was later revealed that Zachary's decision to take the polygraph was influenced by his wife, who had begun to question his honesty. She had warned him that if he did not cooperate with the authorities, she would leave him and take their children. Thus, this sudden shift in his behavior was not solely about clearing his name. Shortly after failing the polygraph, Zachary made another questionable move by posting on social media, admitting to a significant mistake that could jeopardize his life. To the detectives, this appeared to be further evidence of his guilt, yet they still required concrete proof to proceed. The laboratory results eventually arrived. On November 26, 6 days following the murder, Jersey's funeral took place, which Zachary and his wife intended to attend. Forensic experts had successfully extracted a DNA profile from the biological material discovered on the victim's body and conducted an analysis of Zachary's clothing. The findings were not unexpected for the detectives. Nearly all of Zachary's garments contained traces of Jersey's DNA, and the biological material found on her body corresponded with his DNA. Armed with this pivotal evidence, detectives secured a warrant for his arrest and apprehended him just outside the church as the ceremony was about to commence. During the interrogation, Zachary persistently denied any involvement, claiming he was not connected to the crime. However, when confronted with the laboratory results, he ultimately confessed. According to his account, Zachary had indeed woken up that night with a stomachache and sought medicine, but was unable to find any at home. Consequently, he decided to visit Jersey's mother's house, a common practice for him and his wife to borrow medicine from her cabinet. Zachary was aware that she typically left one of the doors unlocked, allowing him to enter without disturbing her. Upon entering, he noticed Jersey's bedroom door ajar and chose to enter. He claimed to have no clear motive and insisted he did not comprehend why he entered her room. He awakened Jersey and asked her to accompany him, entrusting him as family, she followed without hesitation. Zachary then led her to an abandoned house nearby, where he committed his heinous act and left her body behind. Following his visit to a store, where he purchased some stomach medication, he returned home and was able to fall asleep without any concerns. The next morning, he participated in the search for Jersey, acting as if nothing had transpired, feigning worry and eagerness to assist in locating her. Zachary maintained that he had not premeditated the crime, asserting that it occurred spontaneously, although detectives harbored doubts regarding this claim. Nevertheless, they found no grounds to challenge the remainder of his confession, which included numerous highly accurate details that had not been disclosed to the public at that time. The police had kept nearly all information confidential, even from Jersey's mother, making it implausible for Zachary to have known those particulars otherwise. Ultimately, he was charged with murder and detained in jail while awaiting trial. The prosecution declared its intention to pursue the death penalty. In light of the confession and substantial evidence, his attorney did not attempt to argue for Zachary's innocence, recognizing the futility of such a defense. Instead, the focus shifted to negotiating a life sentence in lieu of the death penalty. It is noteworthy that shortly after Zachary's incarceration, he was attacked by another inmate. Fortunately, he did not sustain serious injuries and has since been placed under heightened protection. The trial commenced in the spring of 2015, 2.5 years after the murder. Given that Zachary never retracted his confession, the proceedings progressed swiftly, resulting in a guilty verdict and a sentence of death, along with 2 additional life sentences and an extra 20 years. Prior to sentencing, Zachary addressed Jersey's family, expressing profound remorse for his actions and hoping for the possibility of reconciliation in the future. Zachary's apology appeared to have little impact on those affected, as is often the case with executions, which are frequently postponed for many years. Zachary's situation was no different. He made multiple attempts to appeal his sentence, initially asserting that his first attorney had failed to challenge certain evidence and that the jury selection process was flawed. His new lawyer contended that Zachary experienced significant mental health issues and developmental delays, arguing that his mental capacity was comparable to that of an 8-year-old, suggesting he should not be held entirely accountable for his actions. Notably, even Zachary's mother, who had mistreated him for years, came forward to defend him, expressing her enduring love for her son and her hope that his legal team could successfully challenge his sentence. Additionally, Zachary's wife, who was also the best friend of Jersey's mother, supported his appeal despite having previously condemned his actions. However, despite these efforts, the appeal was ultimately denied. Independent experts determined that while Zachary exhibited developmental challenges, he was fully capable of understanding his actions and recognized that he was committing a serious crime. Currently, Zachary remains incarcerated, continuing to seek an appeal of his sentence. The latest developments in his case occurred in early 2024, but his attorneys have yet to persuade the court to overturn the death penalty, and it appears unlikely that the situation will change. As for Jersey's mother, she eventually married her partner from the time of the tragedy, and they welcomed a daughter together. She laments that her daughter will never have the opportunity to know Jersey or experience the joy of having such a wonderful older sister. Please share your thoughts on this narrative in the comments section, and if you appreciated the video, kindly press the like button. Thank you for watching.